Hi, this is Craig Severance from the Zero Energy Channel. Come join us as we work to address the challenge of moving toward a world with zero energy from fossil fuels. This video is about site selection and especially about site preparation for you putting your house or tiny house, in our case, on a piece of land, in our case off-grid, or just about any rural piece of land. The first thing we noticed when we were coming up here, there was a real estate sign right by that telephone cable post, and we happened to notice, the first thing you may notice here is there's already a driveway, there's already an existing well on this property, and the well works. It's a pitcher pump well, but it works. We're asking more per acre than other similar properties of the same size, but the cost of drilling a well and putting in a driveway and making sure that you actually have good water was definitely worth it for us. We'll also show you the view from here later. But that was one of the key things, the existing well, the existing driveway, and the view. Why we chose to buy this property. 6.74 acres in Custer County, Colorado, which actually legally allows tiny houses. One of the very few places in the country, despite the hoopla about tiny houses, where it's actually possible to get a site permit. So we're going to show you some of the site preparation that we're doing and some unique ideas that we're using here that really help to lay out where exactly the tiny house is going to be. One of the things that is a primary consideration for most homeowners is their view. This view is taken from the end of that driveway you just saw, and it's not a bad view. In the distance you can see the Sangre Custer Mountains, which are sort of surrounded in a bit of a fog that's still clearing, but you can see through there over the top of those trees, which are on the other property on the other side of the road, which we can't do anything about. So that would have been an okay view, but my wife looked around, we found a better place. This is looking down the road from the driveway. You say, why am I showing you this? This isn't our view, but this is what we did. My wife and I walked along facing the view we wanted to see, the big mountains. My wife was smart enough to know that they see this little road that goes down here, it dips down, that the landscape will dip down there also, and it might be a good place to put the house and see the view. There it is. Are you seeing the view yet? Well, neither did the real estate agent, and you definitely don't want to tell the real estate agent when you see it and they don't. Of course, what my wife saw was in front of this tree, there it was. By walking down the road, we got all the trees that are in the way of the view out of our way, and knowing that if necessary we can trim some trees to see the view. Let's come over to the side here where we have done that. There you go. It's still very shrouded in mist, but we have a very clear shot of the mountains in the distance, which are very even more beautiful when they're snow-capped. It's the middle of summer right now. You see, what my wife was seeing is the landscape dip down on the other side, and we could see it from here if we just got some of these trees trimmed. Now, how to find out how to do that, where to do that. You see that big blue tarp sitting there? That is there for a very specific reason. The tarp I cut to be the exact same dimensions as the tiny house footprint. 21 foot 4 inches with the exterior siding long and 8 foot 10 inches with the exterior siding wide. And I waited till 1 o'clock in the summer, which is solar noon, and adjusted that tarp so that the line that the shadow cast from the sun at exactly solar noon was exactly a north-south line, and that is then was lined up so that to the east side of the house, so that the main portion of the house where the big windows are will face exactly south. That's key for people who are doing passive solar heat like we are. And then of course we adjusted where it sits on the land to catch the view. That lawn chair there is there for a specific reason. This lawn chair is exactly the middle of my living room. Looking out are big windows, which I also marked the borders of on the tarp. So by adjusting where the tarp was going to be, also keeping in mind we have to be a certain distance back from the road, I was able to find the perfect spot. So now I'm sitting in my living room looking at the perfect view. This is a view from where I was sitting, and you can see, not very well today, but you can see that we have the view of the mountains there in the distance. And that wasn't there, that view wasn't there, until we created the view by some tree trimming and actual tree removal in a couple of cases. You can see here the tree on the left, that tall one. It's very important, to me at least, not to kill a lot of trees. And so wherever you can trim half a tree or even a quarter of a tree, like in that case. We went up half just that side to the right of the trunk. And over on this side, you will see also this tree. I did the same treatment. I only had to trim one side of it and kept the tree alive. This poor tree, however, is now a stump to be removed. And you'll see that also some of the tree trimming, I cut my firewood while the branches are holding it in place, wherever the branch is in a reasonable position to reach with a chainsaw. So I'm getting a lot of firewood out of this, and I just do it while I'm cutting it. You start by tree trimming. I tree trim off the brush that's not usable. In other words, the thin branches with all the pine needles or leaves, and then you're gonna, and those go in piles around the property, which will help to promote soil growth and new tree growth wherever those are sitting on the barren ground. They end up with no brush on the tree, just branches to be chainsawed. I couldn't have figured out this without the exact location of the house figured out. It changes your perception of everything. The other thing that this you have to consider if you have a tiny house that you're not building the house in place. Is how you're going to get the thing in there. If it's already built, you have to tow it in. So location of a path to bring it in may also involve some more tree clearing, which we're also doing right now. You can see there's the truck up there, and it will be able to get through once we get these stumps and some of these little bushes still out of the way. And I have my runway laid out here with the strings to line up exactly to where the tiny house will be parked. The tarp won't be there at the time. We'll put down some 1 foot diameter concrete posts below Frostline for the jacks to sit on, is all we have to do for what we're up to. And so that's how it's getting in. Then you have to park it. And the truck has to escape. I'm clearing a path over here for that, for the truck to escape. More trees coming down, as you can see. But the truck is going to have to escape also. And down that path, since I did such a nice job of clearing things, we're going to put our solar panels and take advantage of the open space I've created. So you may also notice that we have a lot of 4-inch PVC pipe sitting here to be the sewer to the septic tank. The location and design of your septic system is another major factor which will tie up, it can easily tie up an entire summer like it has for me. Because your local county is probably simply not going to let you locate anything, even at parking a tiny house, until you have installed a septic system. This is over 200 feet of PVC pipe that's going down the hill, which I'll show you over here. You can see my lines that I've drawn, perhaps. The string line, which will be replaced by orange paint when it's time to dig. Coming down here, this is just the PVC drain coming down. Some of the parts, the couplers and the double cleanouts sitting here waiting to be installed in that line, coming down here all the way down the slope to where there's good soil, which is the key, good depth of soil for installing the septic system. Way down there where the soil test pit, you're going to need to dig an 8-foot hole. It took me 3 weeks before anybody even told me that, and to get the soil test done. And then there's going to be a 6-foot pit for the septic tank in our case, and massive leach fields, which our county is requiring us to do because the state of Colorado requires massive overbuilding of septic systems now. So that's a good introduction for site selection, especially site preparation and selection of exactly where you want to put your tiny house and all that might be involved.
Hello, my name is Eric. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up down below. Also, if you want to subscribe, that's good too. Join us on the Zero Energy channel.